What's up, other podcast? Welcome, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We're back at it again with another episode. We're excited. We got a good one lined up. A lot of gems we're about to drop in this one. Before we get started, we'd like to just remind you guys of our content coming out weekly. We're on all platforms, on YouTube, Spotify, and we're also on Apple Podcasts. So if wherever you are, if you're running, jogging, swimming, tune in. Tune in to wherever you're at. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and comment down below. What's your thoughts as well? We like to make sure we get good feedback from you guys. Also, make sure you just tune in to see what value you can get from our podcast. We like to add value, and we like to do the best that we can to make sure that you can take what will be said in our podcast and apply it to your life, and also hopefully it can make life-changing decisions for yourself. But without further ado, let's get our red carpet ready, guys, for special guests. We have Pooky and Jared here with us from Fade. Welcome, guys. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
No worries. Guys, we got great entrepreneurs with us, going to give us some great light and knowledge here. And before we get started, we'll start off with a quick introduction. Just give us your name, your age, where you guys are from, and also your favorite food.
You want to go first?
My name is Jared. I'm 26. Let's double check that. Where am I from? I'm from Point Chev. Grew up in Point Chev my whole life. Played for the Point Chev Pirates for sports, and went to Vista Springs and all that good stuff.
Let's go.
Favorite food? Have to be Mum's lasagna.
Oh, good choice. Yeah. Home cooked meal.
Cool, my turn. Hey, I'm Pooky. I'm 24, from a small town called Monaco, or Clover Park. I went to school in Auckland Girls.
Represent.
Yeah. And my favourite food is my mum's Thai cooking, so can't beat it. Yeah. Thai.
Wow, love the Thai curries. Amazing. There's a lot of different. I don't know. There's Indian curry and then there's Thai curry, and then there's like just the flavor that's in it. I was like, just a little side note. I was like, getting hungry. So awesome, guys. I guess for those who don't know, Jared and Pooky, they have their brand and their own clothing line, which is called Fade. Right? Is that right? Correct?
Yep, Fade clothing.
Cool. And I guess it's been doing pretty well, and I guess we wanted to focus on a little bit because we know, I guess it kind of started the name kind of started, I guess, from watching the Kanye video. Is that correct? Yeah?
Yeah. So it started in uni because I used to go to AUT and I studied graphic design. And we just had access to the screen printing studio upstairs, and you were encouraged to make your own stuff and just jam
just
cool
the freedom
things.
to do your own thing.
Yeah. And so back in the day I was real into Kanye West's songs like everyone else's, and just when that came out I just wanted to make my own tees and just make something cool for myself. So I pretty much just ripped off their design from their music video, made my own t-shirt, and that's kind of what got the ball rolling in terms of the actual design part of Fade.
That's so cool. And then did you come along the way as well, Jared? And
I sort of slided my way in.
This was before I started dating Jared, so in my last year of uni, and then made a few t-shirts for my friends, and then Jared made a t-shirt for Jared, and then
I sort of had a bit of a scroll on Instagram and then seen the Fade tees, and I was that's pretty cool, can I have one? And then so she made me one, and then I wore it to One Love, and then a few friends had seen it and liked it, and then I guess there was a bit of a demand for it, so I sort of spoke to Pooky about it and said I think this could be something, and then it took a little bit of convincing. I think it was a scary part of stepping out of your comfort zone. We had seen other people make clothing brands
and it hasn't worked out too well.
And I guess the fear of being judged, when I guess people wouldn't say look at me with a clothing background, growing up wasn't the most stylish kid. I just wore training kit everywhere, sports kid. So, and so we made a Fade Instagram account, and then I think we made like 50 tees, just purely from pre-orders and that. And then put those out there, and then I guess like a sort of like the snowball effect.
Just kept rolling,
Yeah. Just keep growing, keep learning, and then look at us now. We're all cut and sew.
Yeah.
We're just at a point where, like, I guess when you're just making a few teas for a few friends and family, and then like a few more people want some, and a few more people want some, and then you're at a stage where you're like, oh fuck, we should take this seriously, or like elevate the experience a little bit, because it's like your name's behind it. So it just snowballed like that.
Just snowballed.
Yeah.
And to Jared's point, like he said, you guys are kind of like on the deciding factor, right? Trying to see what we're like. I guess what was like the moment where you guys like, all right, this is it. Like, let's just pull it all in. Let's go do it.
Ooh. I think there was a few. I feel like there was a few of those moments where it was like, at first, like when we first started the Instagram page, it was like, let's do it. And then
when we made a website.
Yeah, and then first time making a website, like, let's really do it. You know, and then like you sort of like, I guess it's like when you're starting to scale. Maybe not with like money, but in terms of like taking things more seriously. Like, I think it was like there was a few points where we were just like, I think this actually could be it.
I think we still have those conversations. To be honest, at every stage of like the business. Oh, let's really do it. Oh, you know.
Like sort of setting out like goals, and like when we do want to do this full time, because we are running this off the back of our own daytime.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
It's not, and like we sacrifice a lot of time, away from our loved ones, but also like with friends. Like we've had to turn down so many nights out. Going out even just to the movies, like with friends and that, or even for ourselves, like have to sacrifice date nights and whatnot. So,
a lot of date night sacrifice.
So sometimes I can't sacrifice it. Got to keep it happy.
Have to. I mean, if you guys are, when you're partners, and you have to go, all in together, right? One can't go without the other. So
that's 100% it. And I think that's sort of kind of what we've struggled with. I'll just speak for myself. Like, there's been different times where we just have to pull each other, like, up together when one person's sort of not seeing the bigger picture, maybe, or like there's a few doubts, like self-confidence issues, or like, just not being able to believe in ourselves. The other person really. There's been times where we've just pulled each other along and like try to help each other there. Yeah,
I think we sort of we just make up for each other's weaknesses at times.
Yeah,
like when we're sort of feeling mentally.
What weaknesses?
I'll speak for myself then. Like when there's times where we're sort of feeling down or doubtful, the other one picks up, us up, and we just keep moving forward. And then when the roles are reversed, we're always there for each other.
Hope to be.
And then it's like same like relationship wise, obviously, running a clothing brand and having a relationship, they're two
different types of relationships. Business relationship, intimate relationship.
And it's just remembering that before, like Pooky says all the time, before Fade, we are a couple, and that's one thing that we always got to remember is that before our relationship fails, Fade will. I feel like our relationship's more important than a brand. It's always just having that at the front of our minds, is that giving time to ourselves as a couple, and
the culture you create between each other is definitely what the culture of the business is going to be. So
100%. Yeah, that's so cool. I guess moving on to our next question, I guess talk to us about this the brand. Like what about it drives both of you to build the brand?
What's that?
You go.
I think it's just like a huge desire, like a huge passion, like it's just like it's burning, you know what I mean? Like it's for me, like I wake up every day and it's sort of like I'm always thinking about like what can we do to move the needle. I think maybe some of it comes from a sporting background, like being so competitive,
wanting to get that, wanting to win,
and just competing against like myself really. It's just like not wanting to let like each other down. I think sometimes it can be detrimental, like for myself. You just sort of like keep pushing and sometimes you need to give yourself a bit of a break. But I think it's like I'm very goal driven. I'm very like I've got things that we've set out and I won't stop till I achieve them, sort of thing. Like it's just I without goals I sort of feel lost, sort of thing. So for me it's easy. It's easy to wake up and know that this is something I want to do, and I don't think I'd have it any other way really.
I think it comes from like a mutual place of wanting to like build and live a lifestyle that we both deserve to live. Like 100%. You talked about the wave of like people not jumping on podcasting just yet, but in other countries that there are, and so there's this maybe concept of like financial freedom, maybe, or like living a life outside of like the typical 9 to 5, or like what life gives you, and trying to build that for ourselves in the form of Fade, and then maybe building like a really strong, authentic, transparent clothing brand along the way to drive that message. And being able to say that like we're just regular people, and if that's something that we can stick to and do ourselves, then other people, there's so much potential for other people to be able to do that as well. And like hopefully by way of us sticking to this and sticking to Fade, maybe that can show people that.
I think
hopefully.
I think if like the whole cliche, if we can do it, anyone can do it. But, like truly you can. I think I'd rather us be the ones that put our necks out, to sort of like to be embarrassed, so to speak. We're not afraid of being different, of starting a podcast, or even just like showing what goes on behind the scenes where things don't go right. And we try to be as transparent as possible. And I think when we get feedback from our community and that we've been able to like build, where people like appreciate that, and sort of like that gives us the extra motivation to keep turning up, because I guess somewhere along the line we know we are changing lives as well, and we've got people that can relate to us and relate to our brand, and that's just important. That's really important to us.
I think like on the top of like starting a clothing brand and even the podcast, I used to think like there's so many people out there doing the same thing. How am I even different? Like what am I even gonna
set you apart?
Why should I do this? There's so many people who already have a voice. Like what's my extra 2 cents? But it's like realizing like making space for yourself, and that your lived experience makes you unique, makes you you, and sets you apart from everyone else, and that you deserve to have a seat at the table. Your voice is just as important as anyone else, and like you can make a change as well, like not feeling indifferent about what we're doing, even though there's so many people out there.
And that's so cool, because there's actually and you guys have such a strong community as well, backing you guys up and supporting the brand line, so it's like, it's not that, so it's definitely not like you guys are going in the wrong direction. It's like you guys are onto something, you're passionate about it, and a whole community, like you've brought a whole community on board with that. And I think that's super cool, is like some people don't understand that, even though like, why try something, or why do this, why do that, just look back on like what Jared talked about, the lives that have changed because of the brand, or things that have changed because I made a decision to be consistent with this brand, and also be consistent with our goals, and look at like something that you created is a sense of community where people can appreciate and love and embrace each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. That's why we're so grateful for every comment, every like story reply, every order. Like people don't have to do that, but they do. Like they don't have to say, "Oh, you're doing good," but they do. And like for that reason, like we're just so like grateful. Just humbles us a lot.
Yeah, and I think like not a lot. Sorry, we get like a few like of our followers that are brutally honest, and that is truly like what we want. We don't want people to just be like just giving us like positive affirmations and that, like oh, this is great, like this is this, like we like it when people are honest and actually call out things that
could be better,
whether that be like content or like with our product. Like there are things that we always like once we've created something, we're already like, okay, like this is what we want to do better next time. And then when some of our followers like called that out to us and like, oh, you know, could you guys do this better? And it's like, yeah, like, thank you. Someone else had seen it because, you know, without the honesty from our followers, like we're not going to get to the point where we, you know, want to be.
And I think that's why when we talk about community, like it's important for us to create a safe space for that community to say something.
Yeah.
To, like, you know, that have that honesty, that transparency, that relationship with your customer or your audience for them to be able to pull you up on it and you be not hostile, but like see as an opportunity to be better.
Yeah, like sort of see things from like their perspective instead of just closing it off and be like, your opinion doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like
to an extent, like,
but you know, without customers, like we don't make any money, and we can't create, you know, more product, you know, more collections, and we won't be a feasible business. So it's definitely important.
Awesome. I guess where do you guys see Fade in the next 5 years? And I guess what's that plan and vision that you both hope to accomplish?
I mean, there's like not little, but like obvious things. Like we want to be able to do it full time. We want to be able to build like a brand with meaning and heritage and sustainability and longevity, and you know, be able to create a life that we want to live and a lifestyle that's like what we've always dreamt of. So those are things that we're like working towards. What would you say?
Yeah, I think to be doing this full time, 100%. And then to have our own space, to have like a studio or office space. I think that's like quite important. I mean, at the moment we're currently living at my parents' house and that, so we do everything out of the back of our garage, which is like an extra lounge type thing. So it's sort of like our office, so to speak. So it's like, I think to have our own office space is key for our growth and that. But doing it full time, and just constantly building on the brand that we've already created.
Building the community.
And it'll be definitely to be able to get outside of Australasia, you know, not just be...
That'd be cool, yeah.
Because like when we look at like our demographic at the moment, it's majority just New Zealand and Australia, but it'll be quite surreal to be able to get Fade, you know, to all corners of the earth and of the world, and you know, be able to see like how far our reach can get, and
how far you can go,
and to exceed where we sort of have our expectations, you know, already.
Yeah, and like build the courage to have even bigger goals. So hopefully in like 6 months, a year's time, we can look back at this and be like, you know, have achieved that or have gotten closer and can like dream even bigger. Yeah.
That's super cool. That's super cool, guys. Awesome. I'm loving the podcast right now. I guess one thing that we love on the podcast, we like focusing a lot on, I guess, setback and failures and how we can change those into positives. And I guess one thing that one of our questions that's asked is, what is a setback or failure that you've had that you've been most grateful for?
There's been a few. I'd say probably one that comes to mind is when we first sort of got into cut and sew. Sort of like stepping outside of AS Colour and you know, Guild and Blanks and all that sort of thing, and it's like there's like people can tell you what to do, but you're still gonna make mistakes along the way, no matter how clear the blueprint is. And it was probably like the amount of samples that we've gone through, the amount of setbacks off the back of that. Like it's for like sometimes for a sample it can cost you $500.
Dang.
It's just it's like, and that's including like all the shipping fees and all that, like, you know, buying the fabric and that. People probably don't see that side. But it's costs that all have to be, you know, accounted for in that. But it's like you sort of have like a picture of what you feel the product should look like, you know, like a pair of shorts should look like, and when it comes back, not sort of how you expected it to be, and you sort of got a limited amount of time to like execute something. Like it's sort of like you have to sometimes it's gotten to a point at times where we're like, we're just going to have to go for it. We're just going to have to like move with this, and only we can sometimes see the imperfections, and we sort of just have to trust our gut. But yeah, it's like just understanding that this is like a small road bump, you know, in our road and that, and on our journey. And like I think it's like that. What that was about a year ago that happened, and you know we're still here. You know, we still managed to release our collection, but at the time, it was very hard to see past that, like samples that weren't working, and you're having to create new samples. And, you know, you're just like looking at $500 fly away, and then all the COVID delays and that, and like I think it's like knowing that they're only small road bumps, and you just have to be able to like see the bigger picture, sort of like step back, you know, zoom out, and just see that it's only a small bump, you know, only a small bump in the road, and
Yeah, I think that's what I'd say. Like, we had this one cream tracksuit that we put online, and it was our first sample of like a cut and sew like hoodie, and we were just like, wow, look at this, our first ever. Yeah, caught up in the moment, and then like
flexing.
Literally, like, wow, we designed this, we made this, and like got lots of traction online and stuff. But it just stayed a sample for multiple reasons. Like he mentioned, we had like not a really good relationship with the manufacturer, wasn't the right fabric, color, like all sorts of things, and like. So we put that out there, and then nothing came of it. And I'm sure no one noticed, but like, it's just like when you build that up online in front of people, and then you can't deliver on it, you don't. It's like the sad reality of like, oh, we failed that. And like one of our values is like being transparent, which is why we show and talk about our samples and like what we've gone through. But off the back of that, it's also hard to be transparent about your failures as well, as much as it is easy being like showing off your like progress and your achievements. So that's one like I guess thing that we've had to learn. Like it's a double-edged sword. Like you can't just have one side of transparency. You have to like you have to you just have to.
I think following on from that though, I think like there was like a year ago, it was a time where we just had multiple setbacks. Like it was just one after the other. Like if it wasn't, you know, our cream hoodie and crew neck and sweatpants, it was like financial strain. Like you know, like I said, like when we see $500 fly away, it's like that doesn't grow off trees. You know, it's a hard work money that we've had to, you know,
to earn and then put into invest in the business.
And so it was like financial strain. You know, that was a setback because like we're like, how can we afford, you know, to even be a business with all these failed samples and
all these like, bad money mistakes that we're making, like just going down the drain.
And like, you know, a bad manufacturer as well, and like that was tough. But there was like multiple setbacks, and then like it was sort of like we had like a bit of a hiatus as well. Like we didn't put anything out for over a year.
Yeah, and that was the transition between printing on AS Colour to doing cut and sew and finding a manufacturer. And that was one of those. Going back to your first question, like what was one of those like key moments where you just like we have to do this properly? That was why like. We wanted to make that transition because we thought it was the next eventual phase of our brand to like grow and actually look serious and be serious and be like a real brand. Not that printing on anything else or like AS Colour is not serious. Not saying that, but like for
just
us,
like for as a brand wanting to get to the next level.
Like challenge ourselves a bit more and just like give something a bit different to our audience. That was
because we've had people that. Like I've sort of said, like, well, you're not a real brand if you don't do cut and sew. You know, you're just printing on an AS Colour, and
there's nothing wrong with that. Just saying,
there's nothing wrong with that. But when we now do cut and sew, like we sort of like had to, you know, stumble quite a few times to be able to stand back up. You know where we are now, and we're still stumbling, but you know we're making a lot more progress. And I think that was sort of like us like maybe listening to the outside noise a bit, but it was eventual anyways that we had to sort of make that transition. And I mean, the past year, forever grateful for all our setbacks. there's probably some I'm forgetting about, but a lot of them were within the past year.
Yeah.
So I think for us to still be here and still doing this pays tribute to, I guess, how strong we are as people. And, just pushing through.
And in tune, like, honestly, in tune, like when you guys are talking, like, what a couple of things that I liked, what you guys said is like, just the fact that you guys just didn't want to give up. You know what I mean? You guys, setback after setback, right? Like, how many times have we, seen people who would have actually, said, oh, let's give it up. Like I said, like, oh, it's too much. Like, we should just pull the plug. But the fact that you guys, kept going, no matter what happened, like, and that's the thing, I guess, a lot of us, especially here in Untitled, need to realize is like, we're going to fail along the way. There's going to be a lot of failures, but people don't even count the number of failures, because once you succeed, all those failures doesn't matter.
Exactly, 100%. That's what, it'll be all worth it, you know what I mean? Like when we do get to
100.
that point where it snowballs to the point where, like, we do look back and we're like, why were we even worried about that? Like, we're not at that point yet, but when we do sort of reach that point where we can look back on this podcast as well and sort of be like,
why were we sweating the small stuff?
Like we're here now, and that's a moment I look forward to.
Super cool, guys. One of our newer questions we have on the podcast, we wanted to ask you guys. We like to focus a lot on, I guess, society and adding value as a whole, and with your brand, adding that same value towards the community. We wanted to ask you guys, what do you guys believe is New Zealand's greatest strength and weakness?
That's a good one. We had a good chat about this last night.
Yeah. Greatest strength, I think it was, about a year or two ago, there was like that phase where it was like support your local.
Local businesses?
It was huge, especially through COVID. And I feel like that was what New Zealand was really, really good for, was like supporting local businesses. Maybe not by purchasing, but just like putting them on the map,
sharing them on Instagram. Like, just small things like that, eh?
Yeah, like a story that lasts for 24 hours can mean the world to any business. And I feel like that was pivotal for so many businesses, and that's just something that I feel like New Zealand does, really well. Jump on the back of people that might be struggling or are doing well, and just putting them up on a pedestal. I feel like that's definitely what I've noticed is a huge strength.
Yeah, and because we're so small, it makes those like champions, those wins even bigger.
Even better.
Like
appreciate a bit more.
And then weakness is probably the same thing. Because we're so small, it's like a double-edged sword. There's been times where I think we kind of experienced, like, how would you say it? Like, what did we talk about last night? Like,
I feel, like they people get you to a point where you're on a pedestal or you're like sort of like here on the graph, but they want you to stay there. They don't want you to get any bigger, I feel. And like when you do sort of reach like a higher potential, people want to like sometimes drag you back down, bring you back down to where maybe their expectations are in life. You know what I mean? They're like, like, he can't do that. That's sort of, it's sort of like...
it's 100% true.
They gas you up, and then you're at that point, and then they want to bring you back down. I don't know. It's something I still don't understand.
It's like that, we mentioned a lot about the crab theory on the Authentic podcast. You guys ever heard the crab theory before?
the crabs in a bucket.
Yeah. Just the crab in the bucket, and how like every time a crab, like when they go fishing, obviously they leave the crab bucket open, and then the guy is always asking, why leave the bucket open? Because they're going to escape. Was because when the crab sees the guy leave, they drag him back down. And it's just kind of similar, like we do live in a society where like it's hard for us to, like, they want us, like what you said, they want us on the map, but they don't want us to like go to places where we want to go. You know what I mean? And it's so true, like, because a lot of us struggle with doing better than the other person, and without building each other or trying to support one another, like trying to change that, that negative outcome, but try to give out positive value and energy.
Yeah, and I feel like people feel that, like, everyone says everyone can have a piece of the pie,
Yeah.
But they're sort of like, well, you can't have that burger piece. You know what I mean? But we can all.
The price only this.
Yeah.
You know.
Like we can all eat. You know, we can all make it. And yeah, I think people with like their own expectations need to raise the expectations.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Instead of like just pulling people down that are doing well. You know, that are stepping outside of their comfort zone. And yeah, I hope that, you know, it's not a weakness in the future. But I mean, at the moment, I don't really see it changing.
Yeah.
It's like you hope as a society we can like raise the roof or
Raise
like
the
the
bar,
limits of what we think we can achieve or like what we're capable of.
People give us limitations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's probably reflects like projects in terms of like the attitude that people have that we're just talking about. Yeah.
100%. I guess moving on to our last question. What does authentic mean to you guys?
That's a good one. I like that one. I think being authentic means you don't compromise on your values and your principles and your like your core, like what makes you you and what you believe in, and not sacrificing that. And I can see that translate into like our business a lot, like not cutting corners, not sacrificing the things that we care about just because it might make our life easier, just because it could save us money, just because it might make us appear more favourable in other people's eyes. I think that's what to me, being authentic is, Yeah,
I think being authentic, like, it should feel natural. Like, if it feels forced, then you're not sticking to your values. You're not sticking to, we're not sticking to the brand that we are. So yeah, it should just feel natural. It should feel like it just rolls off the tongue type of thing.
You can't fake
Fake.
authenticity, You can't
because if people try to call you out on your authentic self or your authentic brand, like, you don't feel like you need to clap back because the receipts, are there.
You are who you are,
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I feel like that.
You can't fabricate like authenticity. It's not something you can replicate. It's just something like within you that you have to like hone in on.
Yeah, and you can't fake it for a long time. Like, you can put on a persona, I guess. But in due time, it'll show for itself if you're authentic or not, really.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. Yeah, it's just like, I guess just being our true, honest self,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Being like your unapologetic self
Mm.
as well. I mean, I know your podcast is my podcast now. I'm going to ask you a question, but your podcast is called The Authentic Podcast.
Yeah.
So what is that to you in terms of?
I like it. Asking the questions. So for me, like, I've had a lot. I think that's the biggest reason why is like the purpose of the name actually authentic, and then us actually calling ourselves Authentic Podcast because we want something that's real, that's genuine, that's who we are. And I think that's a big part of it is like, I guess some of us are different than others, or some of us are similar to others. And for us to be authentic selves, sometimes we need to find ourselves. And I guess, part of it, is being honest, being true, being real to you. And it's just, I guess, being the most real that you can be. And I guess in tune, I guess that's what it is. And it's just to be authentic is to be, unapologetic yourself, like what you're talking about. I guess that's for me, just if I could go, if I could tell anyone like what authentic is probably to be your most true and honest self that you can possibly be. So because you can't lie you can lie to yourself, but
Only for a certain amount of time, right?
only for a certain amount of time, because you can, and that's the thing though, is like, you can lie to yourself, you can lie to others as much as you want, some people, and your really close friends and people and family can see the real you, and the real you, so you can only lie to yourself for quite a bit, for a period of time, till it, to get to a point where like you have to look yourself in the mirror and like, hey, like, this is me,
And you can't keep up a fake act for
Nah,
forever,
you can't. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because you end up, like, the lies keep piling up, and then all of a sudden, like, you can't even keep up with what you had even started. and then that's when people start seeing holes,
Mm-hmm.
and then then you got to, well, at the end of the day, you got to own up,
Yeah.
and that's a lot harder to do than just being authentic.
Just being honest.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make you happy at all. You
No.
know, like, because the amount of energy you need to take to fake to be someone else
Yeah.
is a lot, and to put up a mask every day is hard. So the fact that when you're your real self, that's when you're most happy, and that's when your most joyful part of life is when you understand who you really are, and with that comes with purpose. It comes with purpose gives you a sense of living and a sense of enjoyment, sense of life. And I think that's what it means to be authentic, is to live your most authentic life. So yeah.
It doesn't really help that social media sort of like advocates for like putting like a fake lifestyle up as well, and like you also never see people putting up like anything besides being happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so many people could be battling behind closed doors, but they'll still put up a photo of them
100%.
Happy with friends, or in front of a car that they love, or I think it's just having that talk with yourself, like looking yourself in the mirror and sort of like being like, this isn't who I am.
That noise,
find yourself, reevaluate where you are in life, and then like you know when you're being authentic, when I guess you find your calling of what you're truly passionate for, and when you are, like, don't apologize to anyone for doing what you're going to do, because at the end of the day, you are being authentic, you are being who you really want to be and who you truly are.
100%. Awesome. Love it, guys. We'd like to thank Pooky and Jared for joining us here on the podcast, guys. We're grateful for them and for their words of wisdom and their gems today, guys. We're grateful for the community they have and the brand that they represent. We also remind you guys, we'll put their socials and their platforms down in the bottom description below. Make sure you guys check them out and follow, and also get you guys some merch from them, represent the community. As well, remind you guys, we have content coming out every week. So if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and comment, and also join us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. But before we close up, is there anything you guys like to say before we end our show?
Just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
We're so happy to have been and honoured for your time and for you to consider us and bring us on your podcast and to share your message. It's awesome.
Just reiterate what Pooky said pretty much.
Don't copy me. No,
what my
thank you,
business
Brandon.
partner said. Truly grateful. Thank you so much.
No worries, guys.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, we enjoyed it too. So we'll definitely know that a lot of people will be able to tune in and get something and add some value to their lives, and that's what we're all about. Till next time, guys. Appreciate you guys for watching. Tune in. We'll see you later.